Of the three speakers this morning, I can promise you that I am the least qualified to talk about energy. I am, however, not being of your industry, a pretty good observer from outside. And I think that's part of the reason why when the 34 CEOs of ANGA, which are the independent natural gas producers in the United States, got themselves together saying that they needed to find a way to begin advocating for a greater utilization of natural gas, they came to me and said, will you help us put together a politically viable organization where we can reach out on the national and the state levels in an attempt to let people know that we're here, that we want to work among the other energy sources, but that we'd like to wave our hands and say, it would be really good for this country in all kinds of ways to use more American natural gas. And so therefore ANGA was born. It's really only about a year old. It's been running ads a little bit longer than that. I'm sure several of you saw the Eureka series of ads that ran before I was brought on. But that was the purpose and the reason behind ANGA. And companies from large companies down to smaller companies have joined and said, we believe that not only do we have to promote the mission of actually selling more gas, but we also have to protect the resource and get it. One of the videos that you've seen running during the week, and if you don't mind, I'm going to run it again, kind of gives you an idea of how we are trying to do something a little different with ANGA, and that is to, one, bring some more voices into the debate, and two, talk to folks in a little different way than maybe the energy has spoken with folks before, and therefore try to bring more people into the debate. So, or debates, I guess, really. So let me just run this. I know you've probably seen it, but I'm going to run it and then I want to refer to it on a couple of levels. So that is an ad, what we call a social media ad, that's been running on the internet for the last couple of weeks. We have close to 200,000 hits on it. It's now up for an Addy Award. If you follow social media, Addy Awards are social media videos, basically, that are creating buzz in the community. That was put together by a 22-year-old. And the demographics on that are 22 to 35. And when you get on the internet and look what people are saying about it, that demographic, many of whom work at DOE and EPA and other organizations and bureaus within the federal government, are watching that. It was our attempt to put something together in a different way and reach a new audience. You saw all the messages. We're American, we're clean, we're abundant, we can be used in power generation, we can be used in a home, we can be used in transportation, we burn cleaner than other sources, at virtually no NOx, SOx, and no mercury. And we did it in about 2 minutes and 10 seconds. So that kind of gives you an idea of what the messages of ANGA are very quickly. Now let me kind of tell you what we're doing. This panel is called Deepwater Horizon Follow-Up. I'm onshore, not offshore. I'm gas, not oil. So why is it important in this context? Because once that happened, the whole world looked at energy in a different way. We know that. We also knew that when it came from a regulatory perspective and from a legislative perspective, both on the state and the federal level, that to be able to say trust in technology and the advances in technology, this is going to help us push our energy future, began to be questioned. And our issue, we were somewhat laughing. I said, oh my gosh, I looked at Keith and I went, you had Macondo. And we looked over and talked about, you had San Bruno. And I said, I have hydrofracking. Once the spill happened, when we had been talking about the technology that had been used and was being used in the hydraulic fracturing process, of course, what happens? People don't trust it. And since ANGA was formed to talk about the development of the shale plays, and the companies are going into areas where, unlike Texas or Oklahoma, that are used to seeing rigs out on their land, going into Pennsylvania and New York and Arkansas, where I am from, and all of a sudden having dust and trucks and water usage and air issues and noise and rigs. People began to say, Macondo, trouble, drilling, trouble? So ANGA immediately had to expand its mission. The initial mission being sell more gas, find ways to talk about this product, but then secondarily protect the source. Protect the source. And so now we are not only working on the federal level on issues of EPA greenhouse gas emissions, hydrofracking federal legislation, climate change in the last Congress. We can talk about that in minutes. We're certainly probably not going to see that in this Congress. But now we are operating in almost 20 states, utilizing the great work that our companies are doing every day and getting out a message that, in fact, you can get energy right here in America and be good community stewards and good environmental stewards. So we are in Pennsylvania. We are in New York. As you know, virtually there is a moratorium. It's not official, but there's no drilling in New York. And we're hoping that the new administration